I feel like a lot of people when they saw last year died just kind of thought that was the end of it, you know. And seeing, especially since the post was made on April Fools, like a lot of people were just kind of like, ha ha, good joke, bro. I'm just kind of curious, like, what made you guys like look at this game and go, okay, we're gonna bring this back?
So I can answer that. For me, the moment that said, yes, we have to continue this was the moment that I saw the announcement for the Resurrected mod on the last year's subreddit, because I had no idea that this was in the works. And I saw this the day of the posting, and right away I call up Matt and like, Matt, did you know about this? And right away we were talking about it, and right away we're realizing if the community is so strong and so willing to bring this game back through a mod, it means we can. There's something here. There's something more than just a throwaway property. There's something here that's valid. It's worth it. And we behind the scenes we're working on so many different ways of what we can do. So yes, that's pretty much the moment that said we got to do this.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome. I'm the Redhead Gamer, and we're going to be joined by some special guests today. Hopefully, y'all are ready for some last year talk, because we're going to be talking to some people here right now. Well, let me unmute everything real quick. Got to be a professional streamer and all that. You know how it works, chat.
But yeah, it's definitely like a very serious tone.
Ooh. Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Oh. Yes. Hello.
Oh.
Ralph, do not.
I'm not trying. It's just me. Okay.
Lordy Lou, guys, come on. We just got started. It's not that hard. All you had to do was wait for the freaking cue, CJ. But anyway, joining me right now, though, I guess I'm just kind of go down a list. Is everybody cool with introducing themselves here? I'm kind of just going to start calling on you one-on-one. Yeah. How about you, Pixelated? You want to introduce yourself to everybody who may or may not know you?
Hi, I'm Pixelated Power. I've been around since about day 3 of the actual 1.0 Discord release. Huge fan, huge lover of the game, huge hater of the community, and also wannabe voice actor, so let that sink in. But yeah, I have the best intentions in mind for the game, and I hope this game somehow thrives, so that's all I really need to know.
You're really good with the hand signals, I'll give you that. Like, you definitely have, like, the position going on and everything. Okay, yeah, the heart sign. You got it, bro, you got it. And then I guess going to the right here, Tunes. Go ahead and introduce yourself,
yes.
Man.
Hello, I've been around since the Nightmare, even before that, actually. But I've been around since the Nightmare, but I didn't really make myself known until After Dark. I love community management. I was community management. I was the director in community management for last year Resurrected, so I got the group together and all that good stuff. I'm very big fan of this game, very passionate. I'm actually going into game design, so that's kind of like my off thing, or like my career. So yeah, I'm just hoping to apply what I learned from that career choice and apply it to last year, because I do want to see it succeed and give the best suggestions and help UnDaunted in any way that I can.
You and the team did a really good job with the mod, by the way. Like, honestly, I've been having a ton of fun with it, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too.
Well, glad to hear that. Thank you.
Okay, going on down here. Morgie, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hello, I'm Morgie. I've been around since a bit after Dark, like when the free weekend happened. I bought the game, and then, I saw, oh wow, this game's it's alive. It's got 3K players. And then, a couple days later, I saw it go down to 300, but I stuck with it, and I followed Resurrected. Played the game until, it shut down. But now it's back. I'm excited. I can't wait for it. And I love Strangler.
A good mindset to have, honestly.
Don't we all?
Forget all the people who hate on Strangler, I'm telling you right now. Okay, going on down the list one more time. Riku, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I came from After Dark. That's when I started playing. I got that shit free. Oh wait, can I? Is swearing allowed?
Swearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fucking swear, dude. It's
Yeah, I
cool.
got that shit free because I bought it on Nightmare, but it was already dead, man. Because I was like, when I'm getting a PC, I'm playing last year. But I'm also the inventor of Last Match After Dark, so I'm hoping for another one. You know what I'm saying?
There we go, man. And Trade Baron, the top hat himself. I gotta say, dude, like that profile pic burnt into my mind, man. But for those who don't know you, why don't you go ahead and just introduce?
Yeah, well, I'm Trade Baron. I was a dev on the first game on last year, The Nightmare. I left before the After Dark edition came out, but I worked as a community manager and producer on that particular game. And yeah, I'm just a community member here so far. Well, sort of, but yes, you'll see.
Thank you, Trade. And yeah, just living the best life you can possibly live, man. You gotta love it. And then going on down, 12. Obviously, a lot of people are probably seeing that profile pic right now, and they're probably like quivering in their boots. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Matthew. I am 12 Peers. I am the studio head of UnDaunted Games and one of the owners of the last year IP. I'm here with Martin, who a number of you have already met. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Martin. You may know me as Chad GPT. In case you're wondering, I'm here with Matt in the office right now. I just have one quick announcement to make for everyone, and I'd like to welcome Trade Baron as part of our mod team now.
Yes, I'll be taking on the community management for last year with UnDaunted Games and with this particular stage.
I knew there was
So
a
I'm
reason.
happy.
Oh, sorry.
Nice.
No, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to be back, so it'll be great.
I knew there was a reason you were playing the mod yesterday. I mean, obviously everybody enjoys the game, but like just seeing you in there playing with Angry and everybody, I was like, man, this seems a little crazy.
I've actually been playing a little bit here and there, but it's just getting the time together to do it. I've been busy for the last 2 weeks, but when I do get the chance, I try to hop in, try to get some matches going.
Good deal. And there you guys go. Thank you for introducing yourselves there, guys. And Lamia, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Lamia is a content creator for last year as well, y'all.
All right, yeah, last but certainly not least. Hi guys, my name is Lamia. Lamia, by the way.
Good deal.
I am like he said, I'm a content creator for last year. I've been around since the nightmare that was the last year, the nightmare on Discord. But I also have an aspiration to be a voice actor on the game, and female, obviously. But I mean, also I'm transgender. Woohoo. And I absolutely hate my voice, but I've heard of other people say that they actually like it. So yeah, plus for me. Huh.
Well, thank you for joining us here today. I really do appreciate your input.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Okay, and for those of you in chat right now, if you have any questions, I can't promise I'll get to every single one of them or ask them, but if any of you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat down below, and we'll try to get to them here as soon as we can. But anyway, just kind of moving on to the first topic. Obviously, it's great that last year's coming back, and I think we have a lot to thank UnDaunted for getting the IP back up and running and being as supportive as they have with the community, because obviously a lot of people have been waiting for this game to come back for like the longest time. I guess, just starting us off here, like what's one of the things you want to see, I guess when last year finally does come back and make a debut? Anybody have anything they want to start off with?
Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
Lamia.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah. What I basically would want to see, is like, since I'm a content creator, I would kind of hope, to have like sort of things for like content creators, like how Dead by Daylight does with the Twitch shirts and all that. So I would think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh,
Okay.
that's very interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's a really good idea. Yeah, having that skins aspect play into representing people in the community and giving props to people that have definitely helped with last year because it is a small but growing community and very dedicated. So I think giving that right representation to those people is really good.
Go T Nick.
We already have it.
Dang right.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. Like, I think it is an important aspect to celebrate the community as much as possible when it comes to games like this. And yeah, cosmetics are some of the best ways to do that, I find.
Yeah, and I guess kind of going off of what Lamia said there, I feel like a lot of games kind of do that nowadays as well with like a content creator program of some sort, like some way to get like people who really shine in the community and the content they create to kind of be out there on like the front page or like, to kind of showcase some of the amazing people in the community, which, makes great entertaining and just wonderful content for everybody to enjoy. Lamia kind of mentioned there, like, and I guess Trade kind of followed up on it too with like cosmetics and what have you. But I guess, is there any like thing you guys could possibly see as like a possibility for that or like something along those lines?
Character models 2.0. Let's just start there.
Okay, go ahead. What's your, thing about
uh,
that?
I just hope that we really get like new character models because as someone who knows a bit about modeling, those models were definitely good for its time, but definitely needs a bit of an upgrade, especially now that we need to move on from those reskins. And I think it definitely would benefit the game to just see different parts on the head models for each of the classmates. Like we've already seen them wear the jacket and all of these things multiple times. I think it would add a nice visual variety to it. Because with After Dark, I've noticed after a long time of playing it, it's just so boring to look at sometimes, just seeing the same skins over and over. Like it's just not as visually interesting anymore. Whereas Nightmare, if I always go back to that, it always really catches my eye. That could also be me not playing it as much, but I think definitely having just more visual variety in the game, from the skins to the way the lighting works and all of this, and all the way the maps look aesthetically, would really, really benefit the game, in my opinion.
To add onto what Toon said, I think I see a lot of players personally like attaching themselves not only to skins but to characters in the game, and I think that character models 2.0 would be an amazing feature to add, not only for longevity, to just be able to have players to express themselves better, to show off
Mhm.
who they want to be and their favorite parts of certain characters and certain skins. I mean, you've always seen like some people attach themselves to, let's say, next gen Troy, Skeleton Crew Raj, and just things like that. It's just nice to be able to see the community have their own little picks like here and there from who they want to play, and then you seeing that be reflected in game because you see that skin, you see that person, and immediately, oh, it's this guy. Oh, I've played with this guy before. Oh, I know him. Like it just instantly clicks that you've seen this guy before because he has such a, I guess, unique outfit, or he like only uses the skin. So I think adding more expression and more customization would only add to that and will let the community be able to, I guess, give itself its own personality. So not only would it be beneficial for everyone else, but it'll also just be people can get along better and be like, dude, that's a sick idea. There's a cool outfit right there. I want to play with that guy. Like, damn, I want this. How can I get this? How can I grind for it? How can I play this game more to get that? So it's more incentives for everything.
I gotcha. And I guess kind of like, handing it off over here to like Chad real quick, because I remember like we had a conversation in the Discord one time, and he basically told me like when it comes to game design, obviously like some ideas are like super cool, especially when it comes to like balance, but then like, you hand like people a paper of like suggestions and suddenly like, they're not exactly completely applicable to what's going on. And obviously, last year is kind of made with like an older engine now. So I guess like, just kind of going off of this idea, is that something we could possibly see in the future with like a, changes to the models or anything? Because I know like beforehand, they were kind of restricted in what they could do, like customization wise, I mean, cosmetically, because like they could only change certain things with models and such.
Well, how do I answer this? Yeah, we would really like to update the older models as well, to bring up the speed to what Raj's model could do.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
All
to
right.
add to that, it's when you want to update the models, it's a good idea to try and aim for that, but it is a bit of a lengthy process at times. So I think it's the goal to actually try and aim for that, especially when you have the benchmark of at least Raj's model to get everyone on top of that same benchmark. But it might take a bit of time to get there.
Can I ask, do you think there will ever be a point where like it's more in depth, like you can trade out a torso or like just the pants or like just the head?
I know that's been discussed before. I don't think that's off the table. I think the idea is you want to get the models up to snuff first. And the thing with last year is what's important is stability, the balance, getting all the, to some people, the more boring aspects down pat first, right? Because we're essentially resurrecting a game from the dead. So, in order to make sure that this game is playable, those are the key things. Then, when it comes to models, that is doable, but it depends on the systems that were used for the initial models. They might have to be broken and then reconstituted back together again for that system to work. I left before that was implemented. I know that was discussed in the past, and that's just something that has to be looked at again, I think.
Do you mind if I go off of what Trade said there for a minute? So, when you mentioned what we would like to see firsthand when the game comes back, I would definitely love to see a better retention for the player base and a better incentive for us to be just playing the game in general. It's not that it's hard to find games necessarily, it's more of the fact that it's hard to retain people in the game. Because the game is fun, the game is nice, but it's always the same excuse as like, why would I play this when there's alternatives that reward me for playing more and also have me hooked on more? It's more of like a sunken cost fallacy, but my point stands that I would love to see something that'll help keep the player base in and also have the core gameplay be fun enough to maybe also bypass the idea. I mean, I don't expect a full level progression system or leaderboard or ranking or whatever like system, but I really do hope that when the game comes out, it's in a good enough state that people will just keep coming back to it and, well, at least enjoy the little grind that there is currently. Because let's be honest, the progression system right now is just a challenge or two, and then you get what you need. But for the most part, yeah, I just hope the game comes out in a good enough spot balance wise to be able to hold the player base together and be like, you know what, this is a fun game. Nothing feels out of place. Everything feels fair. Everything feels fun.
Yeah.
Well, bouncing off of that, you also there's also the big problem with last year and its new player experience. Like, it definitely is not very nice. That gameplay rework, like a lot of us, I think I speak for a lot of us in here when we agree that it made the game a lot better. Like I like everyone who's talking to me knows how much I hate original After Dark. It was terrible. I hated the spells. It literally, I think I gave it like 100 hours before I was just like, all right, I'm out of here. This is awful. Nightmare was better. I even went back to Nightmare after that happened. Like that's how much it disinterested me. So I can understand why new players with the same thing, but now it's even worse because now it's in a more competitive focus aspect, intentionally or not. And now it's like these cooldowns, these heavy cooldowns if you successfully grab and all that. And I know for some people they just don't want to get their head around that, or maybe they just don't really understand it for a long time. And that's okay. You're gonna have different players from different backgrounds. So I think that's the main problem right now, is just focusing on the new player experience and how do you keep those new players and don't make them feel like, oh man, I have to learn how to be like this super sweaty tryhard I just went against to even be good at this game or even play it, because they're just getting sent to the respawn room every time because they're not understanding the core mechanics of the game and how they should be approaching the game.
I think one of the important things to keep in mind when it comes to player retention and also the player base as a whole is looking at the Steam Free Weekend that last year did in February 2020. It hit maximum player count of just shy of 3,500. And that's what we hope to achieve as a free-to-play. We hope to have much higher concurrent numbers and not have that barrier to entry for new players with a price point. That was our primary motivation with making it a free-to-play. We believe it'll stimulate the player base a lot more early on. I think we all agree that last year has a lot to offer in terms of the gameplay experience that will keep people playing.
I think last year is a game that actually benefits a lot from having more players, because from there you have different skill expressions, different ideas, and different ways to handle situations. I mean, you have a lot of players nowadays who base themselves off of very specific strats or ideas or classes. And I mean, for me, for instance, I play Technician a lot. I love Technician, I love Medic, but you have a lot more space and a lot more freedom to do whatever you want and be able to think to yourself, okay, how can I help my own team, and how can I, like, let's see, what do I want from this game? Let's see, free to play, join in. Man, I'm not really understanding this game a lot, but like you said, free to play. I didn't pay $20 to get into a lobby and lose instantly. I can just go right back in whenever I feel like it, and let's find out what to do. Let's stick into it and see what makes the game fun. And I think that's really a good thing. I think it's a good thing that it's free to play, and I do like the idea of being able to stimulate it by having it free to play. And I did think about, the issues that could be like, oh, cheaters could be frequent because of free to play games just having that stigma. But we could talk about that some other time when the game is actually alive. So for now, yeah, I'm just happy that retention is on the table and that that's something that's being kept in mind.
I think an interesting thing with last year too is, even though Toons kind of said there, there is like the whole like, I guess, sweaty competitive try hard scene within the game for sure. Like, no doubt about that. Like a long time ago we had like a full on tournament, people were crap talking, like things were getting real, right? But like, I also enjoy like the casual wackiness of the game as well. Like sometimes when you're playing as classmate and you're in a solo queue and your newbie teammate throws a pipe bomb and suddenly it bounces off the wall, lands at your feet and blows you to smithereens. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's irritating, but at the same time you can't help but laugh because suddenly this guy just blew up half his team with a proxy mine or a pipe bomb. And all you can really do is just sit there and like go, I can't believe that just happened, And I mean, like, the amount of hilarity that just happens in this game because of like dumb mistakes or like mistakes that are made in the moment are just insane. Running into a trap on the train tracks, I mean, I know that's a classic because everybody always yells out Sawmill 2.0, baby, every time it happens. Or, like you see that one guy who for some reason puts the proxy at the exit gate and suddenly like he kills himself before he can escape because the fiend just dashed up there. I feel like that's where this game really shines overall. Just like the hilarious moments and like the really crazy, intense, or like sick plays that can happen that I really feel like you can't get in any other ASIM. Like, how many games do you know of where you can like literally grab a player and then like, throw him down a trap door which has a trap underneath it, and then hit him in midair, beat the crap out of him there. He tries to run around the corner, you phase out, run in front of him, cut him off by spawning in front of him and jump scaring him. I mean, the list of possibilities in this game are just freaking endless, and honestly, that's what I love about it the most.
Oh my God, I definitely agree. Like as a designer, like I'm so jealous of this game sometimes. Like as a designer, like I remember when I first got into game design, like I was just so jealous of this game. I was like, dude, there's so many possibilities. It's like kind of like I compare this game a lot to Hitman sometimes, where the creativity is like beyond the limits. Like you can do so many weird things with the game, even though the maps, even though Gym, we can all agree is the best map, is very linear, there's still many ways to approach it. And that's what I absolutely love about last year. You have so many different ways to approach it, and the spells even make it even better. Like I remember as soon as we got our playtest up, like that was amazing. Like I was just trying out the spells I never got to try out before, and I was trying new classes, new ideas, new different ways to approach things. I just stopped kind of taking it seriously. I was just kind of like, what if I just blow up my entire team? That dynamic shift is amazing. That's what I think last year really succeeds at, is the dynamic shift, where one thing that can go wrong for the classmates ruins their entire their win basically. And that's what I love about last year, and it works in a casual and a competitive aspect, which is really great and very strong about last year, is that that dynamic shift can happen at any moment just because of one mistake, and then you could snowball off of that, and it's great. It's absolutely lovely. And then there's that constant battle, that tug of war that I call it, between that having the advantage. I absolutely love the constant shift there. It's amazing. It's what makes this game great to me, at least.
And just I wanted to add on to, like, when you talk about the more competitive side of it, and then you have the new players that come in, the new player experience. This is like a common issue in most games when it's PvP as an onboarding experience. And sorry, Martin, did you want to say something?
Just really briefly, but thank you for putting out what you're going with that trade, Baron, because you're about to say something really, really interesting. But just to the point that we are going to be experimenting something for the new player experience right now, is that there's some volunteers who have offered up the idea of coaching newer players. So it's something that's very, very community led, and it came an idea thanks to the mods, and it's really amazing community because it's something that we don't have to implement on a technical level, but on a community level, we get to try it out and see how it works and see how new players react to it. So we're really excited to try that out.
Well, and that's funny you say that, because I was literally about to say that you can go out of the box. You can have your internal design of like a tutorial, which there's some form of that with the game, but it's fostering a community where you can do community driven. So you could do things like community events. The coach system is perfect for that. But you can also do certain events, like say have certain tasks that if people take clips of it, you can win prizes or work towards certain things. You could do a variety of different methods. You could do, like, we can release YouTube videos that showcase how to do really crazy, like insane tricks as the Strangler, like just very like short clip videos, right? That you can post on, that we could post on the channel. And this is all stuff that we can make and generate to try and reach out to the community beyond just when they're in the game, because I know a lot of people, myself included, like to watch gameplay. They like to engage on the Discord subreddits, that sort of thing. And I think if we can foster this sort of idea that the competitive side doesn't have to mean it's a sweaty side, it's they're nice to, like, we're all here together, we're all here to play. We create a community where, yeah, you're a new player, so come on, we're obviously more experienced, more veteran, but we'll show you the ropes. And I mean, I think it's just about fostering that mentality in the community as much as possible. You're not going to hit it 100% with every single person, but the idea is to try and make that the goal. And you can use so many other tools, which I've got a billion ideas of what I would like to be doing for this. So ideally, we'll see that in the future as well too, with a variety of videos and community-driven events and that sort of thing as incentive.
Wow, it makes me really happy that you guys are actually thinking about doing that. It's really great. Red, if you just give me a moment here, I apologize. Don't want to feel like I'm taking the spotlight too much here, but I really do absolutely love that. I think you spoke for everyone here when you said we love watching last year gameplay. It's just so entertaining. No matter how many times you play it through, especially Fiend gameplay, I'd argue is very, very entertaining to just watch, just see how people approach things. Again, like that creativity aspect comes into play, and it's really great that we are doing that that coaching aspect, because I feel like these competitive players get like a bad rep, or not even competitive players, just longtime players just get a bad rep with a lot of the newer players sometimes, because it's like, oh, you know how to play the game, it's unfair, play boring for us, so or sacrifice your enjoyment so that we can enjoy the game. Like I really don't like that aspect, and I think that really can be solved with that coaching aspect and just onboarding in general. So I'm just really glad that Undaunted is really focusing on that to have that player retention, because it is kind of sad kind of seeing the same people over and over. It's kind of like, oh, I kind of wanted to go against a new person and try like some new idea that I had for a spell combination. Or maybe we all just go technician and like what, two scouts, like just have no medic and see where that goes. Like, it just gets really annoying sometimes when you just see the same people over and over, and it actually just demotivates you in general. But it just makes me really happy that you guys are really focusing on that aspect and getting the community back together. I think that's really, really great.
Yeah, and I guess just kind of following up on that, like honestly, it's wonderful to hear that there's, like community involvement with the game and such. And also, like, I know a lot of the more experienced players and people who have just kind of like been playing the game for a long time have really been interested in trying to maintain and like retain new players and kind of teach them what they know. Like, I know, for example, Sparky the Wolf's made a guide. I saw Craft Pig was recently made a coach. Kind of going off of the whole coaching system too, I guess, because there's a lot of people in the chat right now kind of saying that they're a coach or in a supportive role at the moment. How are the coaches chosen exactly? Is it kind of based off of like merit and word of mouth in the community, or is there an app they can fill out, or like how's that work exactly?
At the moment, we're still working on that. Like me and Prof were just thinking of ideas, like hour requirements or anything of that sort. I really think there shouldn't be hour requirements because when I came back to After Dark, I only had 100 hours and like 50 hours in, I already knew everything. Like I already learned what spells were the best, how to play certain characters. Of course, I wasn't perfect or anything, but I don't think you need to be perfect. I think we need to stay away from the whole like, oh, you have to have so many hours. You need to be like a literal like genius at this game. Like you understand every single thing and how it works. I think we need to stray away from that and make it to where like maybe you have an intermediate coach where he doesn't know everything, but maybe he's really good at that how to play assault. Like he's like the best assault main you've ever seen, but he's not very strong in other classes or how to play fiend, and I think that's okay. So I think we did. I think together we should work on that for sure. Just how to pick people as coach so that the intermediate players can feel involved, and some of the newer players as well that really understand how to play one class, and it's not just, oh, you're not a veteran, so like screw you, you're not getting a coach role. Like I feel like that's very just a bad mindset to have, and I don't want to feel like we're blocking off the community or gatekeeping people because, oh, you played the game longer so you have a higher status, whereas if you just came in, you're a nobody. Like I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah, it's about inclusivity in the sense that we want the community to be together. Like that's sort of somewhat of the bane of most PvP communities. I find is that it tends to separate like oil and water in terms of the average casual gamer, which is not a negative or pejorative or anything like that. It's just people who just come in, they play a little bit, they love the game, but they're not as dedicated to the game versus the people that have more skill because they've been playing it for a long time and they've really been dedicated to working on that skill. And I think there is a bridge there. I think that it starts with the community, and I think with the blessing of this game coming back is that it's small and it can really focus its core on those elements first. And then if we get bigger and the game expands, that's great. That's the idea, but at least we have that foundation that it's like with the coaches and just everyone sort of being a more positive role model essentially to each other in terms of wanting to get better. So yeah, I agree.
I'm glad I joined at a pretty good time. I'm sorry, Red. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You gonna say something or?
Yeah, just real quick. I like the aspect of coaching, not necessarily for the. Well, I mean, it goes both ways, but I'm really a big fan of the coaching aspect, specifically for the onboarding, because there's only so much you can get from tutorials that playtime experience won't ever teach you. So I'm really glad that you're going more for a coaching aspect, especially to engage with the community more. I really love that. It's a really good idea. But I also do like the idea that, hey, you want to get better, you want to get sweaty, you want to get skill expressive, by all means, we're here for you. But I think that's a good idea. And sorry for cutting out there. Thunderstorms are brewing, so go ahead, Red.
I guess what I was gonna say is, obviously, the coaching system's definitely gonna help out quite a lot. I feel like for the longest time, obviously a lot of people have been wanting, a way to onboard new players and kind of make the new player experience a little bit more enjoyable because, it's very common in a lot of games, of course, but, especially in last year where the game is like very team heavy, like the solo queue experience can sometimes just be like absolutely painful. Because like without like a team synchronizing their attacks or making items and playing together, the game can be like 20 times harder, even if the fiend is like brand new per se. So I guess, just kind of like passing the question on. Obviously, I feel like the coaching will definitely help out quite a lot because I don't really think, especially in a game like last year, that just playing a tutorial is going to teach you everything you need to like be an average or competent player in the game. But I guess like, is there anything else besides the coaching system that's being worked on as a way to like, get newer players into the game and kind of maintain them, especially if they don't know about like the Discord or, perhaps like being able to find a mentor or anything?
I think you've hit upon something that last year has a lot of skill complexity, the depth of the skill involved. There's a high ceiling, and absolutely there's a large contingent of veterans who have really pushed the limits of what people can do in this game. I think in terms of the coaching, this is very much the approach that we had when exhibiting the game at PAX. the whole idea of onboarding new players, having someone to kind of guide that experience is very helpful. And I don't think it takes too much to pick up the fundamentals of the game, but it can definitely be intimidating that first time around if you don't know what you're doing.
So I do have a question. Would you think a leveling system would play into just helping people getting onboarded so that they aren't paired? Like, since the matchmaking doesn't really exist, it's just kind of there for show, at least for now. Do you think a leveling system would ever help with that? So that people that are new don't get paired with people that have been longtime players? I know that was a big problem when last year didn't really have many players. A lot of new players that came in from the sales and all of that's when it was like $1. They would come in and just get absolutely steamrolled by older players, and then they would be like, all right, game sucks, I'm leaving a bad review and I'm going to tell all my friends not to buy this game. Do you think a leveling system or anything just to make sure that the people that are really good at the game and that are new to the game don't just pair up and just absolutely get destroyed? Is there anything that you guys
You
are
mean
planning
like a
for that?
ranking system, right?
Yes, a ranking system.
Um, I don't know the details yet of anything in the works. I personally could speak to the idea that I think a general ranking system would be a good idea, but I know that has to be discussed. Martin, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there.
I think I'll weigh in on this.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The issue that you're outlining is something that's very much the case when you have lower numbers of players. As the number of players increases, that becomes less of an issue because there is a wider player base and you're going to have a lot more variance in matchmaking. And then as you get to a much larger player base, that becomes an issue again. So really, it's something that needs to be addressed over time. But the goal is to have a large enough player base that the, say, group of very experienced players aren't overwhelming a smaller number of newer players. The goal is to have a lot more newer players, and the skill curve is smoothed across groups.
Yeah, community-driven processes like the coaching is definitely more effective at this stage of a community like this because it's such a smaller but tight-knit and interactive community with each other. It's not that it doesn't work at a larger community, but I think that's when the ranking system comes into play more, is when you have a need for it, essentially, because you're just going to constantly have newer players come in. But right now, I think the ability to kind of depreciate that gap is something we can all work on and control, especially from our perspective, creating videos, working with coaches, working with streamers and YouTubers, and just sort of putting out blogs, putting out guides, putting out all sorts of information, trying to cover a gamut of different ranges so that this could help people more, I think.
To add to Trade Baron, I did make a video with Strangler of like tricks and stuff on Sawmill, and I called it the Strangler Sawmill Experience. And I got some comments that were like, I can't open the game, or I'm stuck on a loading screen. And
That
so yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. People want to play this game.
Yeah, I think I mean, barring the situation we're currently in as of today, like once this game is obviously live publicly, we're at that point. Absolutely. I actually saw your video, Morgie. I thought it was hilarious where you just keep
Oh, that's
throwing people
cool.
into the buzzsaw. Yeah, that's actually what I'm talking about. It's very quick. It's almost like TikTok length of videos you could do for some of this stuff. You can do longer videos to show like how to run a match or how to do certain tricks as a classmate, or just how to use the strangler or the giant, that sort of thing. But yeah, absolutely, I think that's the correct idea, and I've seen that a lot too. I see a lot of people are interested. They're watching. They're looking at how this game is going to operate once it opens its gates.
Well, there you have it, folks. A lot of community interaction coming up, the coaching system in place, learning the ins and outs of the games, and a number of other things. I guess one thing I'd like to touch on, since we have some folks from UnDaunted here, obviously, a lot of people, when they first heard of you guys, were kind of like, who? And I don't mean that in a bad way, of course. It's just there's a lot of people out there who are like really interested in like who exactly you guys are and like what the goal is here. So I guess could you guys just kind of tell us a little bit about the company, you know, what the vision is, and I guess, you know, what you hope for the future?
Sure thing. So our background with the last year IP is that we run an experiential marketing company that did a lot of work with the previous IP holders. So we did a lot of work with the last year IP, specifically the exhibits at PAX East and PAX West that were very successful. We saw firsthand what the potential of this game is, what the community reactions were, what the reactions were from people in the industry, and we knew that this is something special. And so, as time passed and we had the opportunity to pick up the IP, we did. And now our focus is really on bringing it back, giving it a second shot at realizing a lot of that potential.
And I guess was there like a deciding moment for you that just made you go like this game like needs to come back? Cuz like, you know, I feel like a lot of people when they saw last year died just kind of thought that was the end of it, you know? And, you know, seeing especially since the post was made on April Fools, you know, like a lot of people were just kind of like, "Ha, ha, good joke, bro." You know, I'm just kind of curious, like, what made you guys like look at this game and go, okay, we're gonna bring this back?
So I can answer that. For me, the moment that said, yes, we have to continue this was the moment that I saw the announcement for the Resurrected mod on the last year's subreddit, because I had no idea that this was in the works. And I saw this the day of the posting, and right away I call up Matt and like, Matt, did you know about this? And right away we were talking about it, and right away we're realizing if the community is so strong and so willing to bring this game back through a mod, it means we can. There's something here. There's something more than just, you know, a throwaway property. There's something here that's valid. It's worth it. And we behind the scenes we're working on so many different ways of what we can do. So yes, that's pretty much the moment that said we got to do this.
Yeah, to expand on that, the efforts from the modding community, it's absolutely fantastic what the team was able to do with the Resurrected mod. It's really it's extremely impressive. The trailer for the mod, what is it at? 150,000 views.
Wow, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's really indicative of not only the enthusiasm behind last year, but really what could be with this property and with this game. So
And with this community.
and with this community, and bringing it back, we're really excited to see where we go from here.
And as someone who used to work on the game, I can assure you, I met these guys. They know what they're doing, and that's why I chose to come work with them. So it's definitely going to be a more positive experience.
Well, it's great to have you, Baron.
I'm glad to be here.
And wow, just that warmed my heart when you guys said that Resurrected actually really convinced you guys, because for a while we were in like a dark period where it was just kind of like, all right guys, well it's kind of the end, and we try to bring it back with the community mod. I can give a little context on that real quick. It was just to add content to the game, and you know we were just like optimistic about it, and we were like, yeah we're gonna do it, and then yeah it kind of fizzled out, and then we came back with Resurrected and we were like, okay, let's see where this goes. And you know, for a while, you know, since some of our developers were in Ukraine, that really like stalled us a lot. And for a while, it kind of looked like we weren't going to reach the end there, and we were kind of like, should we just release it in this very poor state? You know, what should we do here? But I'm kind of glad that we pushed through, and that really did convince you guys to actually buy the IP. Like it makes me really happy, and I think I speak for everyone at Team Resurrected that we're just happy that we were able to convince you guys just with a mod. That's mind blowing to me a bit. That just that one thing where we're like, yeah, let's make a mod, guys. We didn't think about that. We didn't think like, oh man, that's gonna convince someone to want to buy the IP. We were just kind of like, all right, let's just see where this goes. We just kind of want to play the game again, and let's just see if people want to play it. If not, then I guess we'll just play it.
One thing I did want to say, which was what led me to was like, okay, this game's got to come back. I saw a YouTube video, and they were playing Last Year After Dark, or not Last Year After Dark. Sorry, it was Last Year of the Nightmare, the Steam version. And I had found out, I didn't know this, but they were on peer-to-peer servers, and so they couldn't be shut down. And so I was like, I was talking. The video I saw was from Slayer Killer, and he was like, oh, they got this mod, and I'm like, really? I didn't know this, and this was before the mod came out, and I was like, really? When does it come out? And he's like, it's gonna come out soon. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, I joined the Discord, and then the rest is pretty much history after that.
I'd also like to say, or give props to Professor Monster for the trailer, and let y'all know that I'm actually responsible for all of the views there. But also, I was just wondering, back to the free-to-play thing, right? I've been like glazing the whole podcast. Like, should I ask this? But it's free to play, right? But like everything in the game is like unlockable by just playing. How are y'all gonna like, get a bag? You know what I'm saying?
The game is monetized through the microtransactions in the game. If you play the game, you are able to unlock things, but it's time value.
So basically, there's a lot of things you'll be able to earn through actually just playing the game, like any good game that's free to play. But there will be stuff that you can also just purchase as well too over time, and that allows for more things to be released, more work to be done for cool, fun, new cosmetics. And there's always that balance of trying to be able to make it available to get. You look at a game like Warframe, for example. Everything in Warframe is grindable. You can go get that stuff in game, or you can buy it with platinum, which is what they use for real money. And I can assure you, I play Warframe, and I have bought things with platinum. So it's just because I want that new shiny frame, and I don't want to spend 12 hours grinding it. I want to play that frame now. So I think that's where you come into, like, you get really cool looking cosmetics. They're not like pay to win kind of stuff, just fun, neat looking things. And again, everything could be, or almost everything I imagine will be earnable in game.
Yeah, I always appreciate when games make things free. Maybe it was just like me having 1,000 hours, like I just got everything quick, or like lack of cosmetics from like old dev team. But it did feel pretty quick. But I'm chill. I'm chill with it.
There might be like some things that are just straight up like, this is a fun festive thing that we're selling at a reasonable, like, low price, but here it is, and it's just, you can buy it and get it. It might not be in game. I don't know the plans yet in terms of the future, and that's also the future too, right? But
Yeah.
I think the goal is to make at least 90% minimum earnable in game as well. But we'll be forthcoming about it. I know that people can be sensitive in terms of microtransactions, battle passes, that sort of thing. They're not inherently negative. It's just how it's used. And we want to be as transparent and forthcoming with you guys, which is something that hasn't been the case in the past with previous individuals. So I want to make sure that, we are here to, yes, we want to keep the game surviving, want to keep the game growing, but we want to work with everybody involved.
So, something I kind of want to touch on real quick, because this is a question I've gotten a lot of in my streams, on YouTube videos, and even kind of in the chat right now. Obviously, new dev team, and stuff like that. But, are a lot of the things that were talked about beforehand, such as like the father and the mall map and things like that, are there plans to kind of like eventually bring those back or implement those, or is there kind of going to be like a new roadmap and a new vision and plan for the game now that that's taken over? And saying, we don't know yet, or, we don't want to give any information on that yet is totally acceptable, but like I feel like a lot of people would really love to know that.
I know it's a question that everyone wants answered, and that's fine. Our first and biggest priority is getting the game back and completely relaunched. So that's our number one focus. That's what we work on every day. As for future content, if there's something that's close to being finished, we might be able to add it. We'll see how it fits in with the future design goals. But the first thing first is really just bringing that everything back online, where people don't need to download a mod and you can just click that button on Steam and start playing right away. That's our gold star moment.
Totally cool. And obviously a lot of people want that to happen. So, that's kind of like the big important thing. Worry about everything else later.
One thing I did want to say, this is not really, you don't really have to listen to this, if you don't want to. But I did, we did, I don't think we really touched on this topic yet in the, at least in the podcast, but like before the podcast and before we introduced ourselves, we were talking about lore. And in ways, I feel like lore is really good. You got to have lore for your game, or else it gets boring. But another thing is you can't have too much. Like, for instance, I feel like Apex Legends. I don't know if you guys know Apex Legends, but the lore is just all over the place in that game. So it's just like there's so much, and I don't know. I just feel like it shouldn't be that way.
So consistency.
Yeah. Well, yeah, consistency, but like not too much lore all in one place, because it just like gets scattered.
I agree. There's something really important when you write stories is show, don't tell. Don't give too much exposition, and don't reveal everything about your characters and all that. You want to keep them mysterious. You keep them interesting. Maybe you reveal some things over time, some big revelations. Because if you just tell everything about a character, then no one's gonna want to know about them anymore. They're not interested in that character. It's like, oh, I know everything about that character. So yeah, I do hope with the lore that they keep it very simple. Maybe explore some of the characters a little bit, maybe some of their backstory. I think DVD does that really well, where like you can watch the videos or whatever part of the Rift Totems. I don't know. I haven't played DVD in like 3 years. Where like you can go into their backstory, like how Claudette got into the fog and what was her life like before. I think that was very interesting, and they just showed it through a bunch of images. I thought that was really, really strong and really, really great. So I think you touched on a really good point there, and I would love for Undaunted or Baron. I know Baron was a writer for the lore for Nightmare to just expand on that. Like, how do you want to approach it? Essentially.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of From Software style of storytelling as well, which is very similar to that kind of method. They do a little bit of both. They do have some, like, you can find things and read them, but it's not that much. A lot of it is integrated into the into the maps, into the locations themselves. Sorry, Martin or Matt.
I'm going to say that we're very aware of the situation of the lore of last year, and it is something that we've thought about a lot. There's definitely some difficulty in how to integrate the lore into the game, especially the way that things are currently. But I guess the best way to address what you've brought up is to say it is absolutely something we thought about.
Okay.
Would you mind if I add to that real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So, an idea I had about that too was I am a huge fan of not just the lore of the game, but also the characters within it. I love how very three-dimensional they are and how they're all supposed to be obviously like face value. They're supposed to be their archetypes. Also, I apologize if I disconnect again. Thunderstorm be thundering. But I love how face value, you just have the stereotypes of jock, cool kid, preppy girl, shy girl, and nerd. And of course, they're not like that once you actually get to know the characters. One of my favorite examples is Sam, specifically. I know she's a fan favorite of the community. Personally, I don't see it. But I know she's a good character, and I do love her a lot. You can tell a lot from her voice lines. And it's not just the fact that, she's very caring, very shy, and obviously, the shy girl of the group. But it's in the way that she handles a fiend. She's not really shy about it. But if you listen to the lines, it sounds like things that she would be told herself, because a lot of the lore, unfortunately, is outside the game. You have to go to the website, you have to go look for it on Discord, you have to check devlogs and stuff like that. But you can tell, if you know this, if you know certain tidbits of the lore, and you pay close attention to certain lines or certain aspects of characters, you can tell what's going on with them. For instance, like I said, let me get to the point of Sam. Whenever she's facing the Fiend, a lot of things she says is like very demeaning, very bullyish kind of talk, where it's like, how does it feel to not have any friends? Nobody likes you. Stuff like that. You feel that will be told to someone like an outcast like Sam. So it really gets your gears going. It really gets you thinking about it. And I like that in a way because, it's not in your face. It's not like, oh, she was bullied at school. Oh, nobody liked her. No, it's just, you hear this in game and I'm like, huh.
She's projecting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She's projecting. It's similar with Chad and Nick too because, they're just the stereotype of jock and nerdy kid. So a lot of the things are supposed to be super nerdy or super like dumb and sportsy, but when you get to like hear the character be a person, it's just like, man, there is something really behind this guy. Like Chad's really caring, Chad's really protective, really defensive. Meanwhile, Nick is very thoughtful, very logical, and he's very like, man, I wonder how does this work? I wonder what's going on here. Instead of just, dude, Batman reference, fireball and stuff like that. So it's nice to see the characters have some depth to them.
I 100% agree. I think that's what makes Nick one of the best characters is that they have those references. So like you're like, oh, he said it. But also when he talks about like theorizing about how the nightmare works, I absolutely love that. Like I really like that, and it shows his potential as like a character a lot. I love how it goes in detail. Like even you can just analyze the lines for hours on end. And it's just like, what did he mean by that? Like, who is he off of this line just alone? And like, I think what's the best part is that those lines are very thoughtful, but they're also very repeatable. Like, I know it's like a fan thing to do, just like repeat all the Chad lines or whatever, because they're funny. They're really, really enjoyable. And the way the actors say it is amazing. But also at the same time, but yes, like, so, everyone says it over and over. But then when you really start to stop and think about it for a second, you're like, man, these are actual real people. They feel like people that you want to connect to. And I think that's why all of the characters, like, even though we have our jokes like, oh, Amber sucks, nobody likes Amber, you really actually do like them because they're all three-dimensional characters. There's no like definitive favorite. Like almost anyone you can ask here is like, well, I like every character. I can't tell you which one I like the most. And I think that's what's really a strong suit of last year for sure.
Sometimes less is more. Also, sorry, go ahead, Lamia.
The thing I was call me Lamia again. I'm a llama. No, I'm kidding. But the thing I did want to say is I wanted to touch on what Power said about Sam. Is like there's a saying. I don't exactly remember how it goes, but it's like you spend your life being good. You see yourself ending up becoming. You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. So, in a way, it's if you think about it, it's kind of like what Sam's going through.
Yeah. A lot of the things she does in the Nightmare is very much on character with what she does. A generic good person would, care for others, but, put them in a corner and, you'll find out the little things they've had to just bear and have weigh on their shoulders for the rest of their life. So you really think about that whenever you're playing as certain characters, whether it be Amber, Sam, Raj, Chad.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of been touched on in the chat too, and like Trade kind of mentioned it earlier, like that from software storytelling, I guess. Like there's a lot of like interactions and things you can definitely like pick up on. For example, like one of Nick's lines is like, and it also kind of gets the gears rolling in your head and people start like theory crafting and like, oh, is this how it works or whatever. Like one of Nick's lines, I believe, is something along the lines of like, how come he's dead but we're not? Whenever they come across a dead body or something like that. Or like, there's also kind of like the joke line too, which is, like, do you really think the ones that come out of the closets are really us or anything like that? Just stuff like that. So then it like kind of gets you thinking like, oh, like how does like the lore work here? Like how does this realm work? Like, like things along that line, why are these like bodies on the map, but yet the, classmates are fine and we can still like come back every time they die, the list goes on really. But yeah, it's definitely like very interesting lore-wise, like trying to figure out things and connect the dots and, just kind of like environmental storytelling as well.
One thing that I thought would have been pretty cool is if, like, because in the original last year of the Nightmare, they didn't make it to where you could play other characters. So what I thought was pretty cool was whenever last year come back, whenever they let someone out of the closet, they just be like, um, wait, why are you me? Or something along those lines. What? Are we twins or something,
That's one that I've also talked about before. I don't know if I talked about it like openly or anything, but I thought that would be really cool to add lines like that if possible. If not, do it for future characters if they ever do exist. That was like, hey, you're me. Especially, I think Nick would like have just a field day with the lines for Nick, just like having the most philosophical, logical things imaginable. Just like, wait, it's like, wait a minute, there can't be two intellects here now.
You're not
Like,
supposed
I
to
just
be
love that.
me.
Yeah, like I feel like that would be really great. Just adding that extra layer of complexity to it. I think that's what Left 4 Dead does really well. Is just having that character interaction. And last year took what it did well and just made it even better. And I love that dynamic system where like even when you're venting in front of a fiend, he's like, "Oh no, I'm out of here. You're not catching me." I love that so much. It makes the game feel real. I don't think nobody really talks about the systems of how they work and how the characters interact with each other is really just amazing. And it's really well done. And I just hope to see it expanded in the future. More lines, more dynamic interactions. Like maybe if you throw a specific weapon, or attack the fiend at a certain time, maybe someone will say like, "Yeah, go get him, fight him." Like that would just be even more awesome and make them even feel more human. Like sometimes the game feels so real. Like sometimes because of the lines, and I think going into that aspect, if possible, would just be great.
Hashtag Nick Gang rise up, baby. But
Yo,
anyway,
true,
but
true.
No, no.
also, real quick, did everybody agree with giving Nick a goatee here? Say yes.
Yes.
Where did we talk
Yes.
about giving Nick a goatee, or did I must have missed that conversation?
Don't worry about it.
She doesn't clueless.
Yeah.
But I guess we've already gone over an hour here, so we'll try to keep it a little short here. But one thing I do want to touch on real quick is obviously the most recent announcement we got, playtest coming later this month, hopefully. I guess anything you guys want to say about that?
Oh man.
Here we go.
So as
Me
far
and
as
my-
the playtest, yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll go. So as far as the playtest goes, we do have a build that we're testing, a server live build. Um, it's open to a limited group of players. Uh, what we've done is we're looking for players that have a lot of experience with how last year is meant to run as intended. And we're really just identifying not only server health, but also trying to suss out a lot of the more obvious bugs. And we're in the process of doing that. Once that process kind of wraps up, we'll be able to put up a server build that's open to a wider group of players, and that'll be leading up to the game's launch.
Ah, that sounds great. I do have a quick question about that. Some of the notorious bugs like giant trap glitch, the one where he throws you into a trap and then you're stuck in a falling animation. Ralph, you could.
No, never. Continue.
But I was curious for like some of those really notorious bugs, like the laggy movement, like especially on medic. Like I know it's very, very aggravating to play medic, and sometimes that's why I don't play medic, is because like you'll just be healing someone, and then now you're stuck in a run bug where like it screws with your running speed and you can't jump. It's very aggravating. Will you guys be approaching those as well? Because I think that would be great for just everyone involved, just to fix those issues. But if not, I definitely understand just trying to get the game playable. But are you guys approaching any big notorious bugs like that? Is my question.
We are going to be working on bug fixes generally. Um, the main things we're looking at right now are performance bugs, and as more of these, I guess, better known bugs are raised, we're going to try and approach those as well. But it's a compromise between putting more time into fixing things versus getting more people playing the game. And I think for a lot of the community, I think everyone in general, more people would want to play, knowing that there are things that are in the process of being fixed. And that's kind of the balance we're trying to reach.
So is the plan to basically like make a less buggy version of the latest version we had of the game before it went down?
The goal is to make a server live version of the game, so a version of the game that can be played independently without the use of the mod. And then knowing that there's things that are going to need to be fixed, there's balance that's going to be need to be done over time. That stuff will all be approached as the game is being launched.
Yeah, you need to think of it in stages, right? Like right now we're at a stage where the game has to be playable. You have to be able to click play on Steam and you jump right in. No any other problems, no mods, nothing that you have to get there. Once that's there and we're confident that it's a stable, ready to go game, that could be the next stage, is looking at balance tweaks, bugs, everything, trying to compile as much as we can together to do sort of a game health patch, which is a big thing, which requires a lot of analyzing, a lot of community feedback, a lot of looking into it at different angles, everything like that. So it is a bit of a lengthy process, but it's like untangling Christmas wire. Like it's just getting through all of it, and step by step, we start with what's needed to be done, and then we move into the next stage, and then we're good to go there.
And I guess go ahead. You want to say something real quick?
Oh, yeah, real quick. I'm glad that's the approach you guys are taking, because the game is definitely playable. It's definitely fun how it is now. There are obviously some quality of life things that need to be addressed. Very minor / major game-breaking bugs that can be annoying to play against, but never really did. I guess it never really take away from the game. I mean, the run bug is annoying, at least for me. I personally don't mind it. It is annoying and infuriating, but I'm not gonna say I hate this game over it. But I'm glad that's your approach to it, because right now we need a game that's playable. We need a game that can have players. We need a game that will have something, for us. Because right now you got people joining in, like you said, for the mods. So first of all, having the game going, good start. But having quality of life is definitely what I hope is up next on the chopping block once the game is out and live, because there are a lot of things that could be better. Obviously, things working as intended, game not being as buggy. I noticed that a lot of people are having either worse performance or better performance with the current build that you guys have out, so I'm actually a big fan of that, because my computer would be a space heater. Every time I boot this up, goodness gracious, no. But now everything's running smoothly. My computer is absolutely fine, and just more quality of life things like that will definitely help the game be more accessible and more fun and a more smooth experience, instead of going in and worrying about, oh, my W key isn't working, oh, this doesn't work, oh, why am I stuck in the wall. It's more of just like, man, this gameplay issue is a thing, now let me find out how to solve it, or oh, hey, I want to try to do this more. They'll focus more on the actual game itself rather than, oh cool, I'm just dead now because the game says so, or oh, I can't move now, great, perfect. So that's a good thing. I really do appreciate y'all for doing that.
And one last thing. I mean, I want to touch on this real quick because it is a big question. Forgive me, my reporter instincts are kicking in when I used to work in radio, so Lamau. But everybody wants to know two big things, and like obviously, if you don't know yet, totally cool. But everybody's just like beating the horse over this. I guess the first thing is console release. Is that like in the future? I mean, obviously you got to do a lot. Game has to get back up and running, et cetera, et cetera. But is that something later on down the line when everything gets up and running that could be a possibility?
All I'll say on that subject is, I think everyone's kind of aligned that console release is something that should be approached. And to that end, we have looked into consults on that side of things. So it is definitely something that we are looking into.
And then last but not least, the other big question everybody keeps screaming and shouting from the rooftops, previous progression. Like, is, I mean, obviously, I know that's been talked about here and there, and a lot of things have happened. I guess, do we have an answer on that yet as to whether or not that'll happen?
I don't want to say anything for certain. What I will say on that is we were able to recover the data we were able to recover from the servers when they were shut down.
Understandable. Okay, thank you very much. I do appreciate you guys.
Wait, can I add? Sorry, can I ask? Will cards be reset? Because I feel like it's unfair that I have like 500k.
Brother.
Oh.
Is this your progression from
Yeah, no, yeah, from After Dark.
Yeah, the cards were the free currency you would just get by playing games. Basically, the experience you would earn just by playing the game.
Yeah, and you could buy cosmetics with them. Most of them.
Well, this one we'll know. We'll know it when sorry. We'll be able to say more about this one once we know more. Right now, our really big priority right now is getting back the server through the server test and then through the launch, and those are occupying pretty much all our time right now.
Yeah, it's difficult to answer specific questions in terms of what we want to do, like what we can do next, because right now just getting the game up is such a time consuming and really the priority for everything. And it is a small operation too, even smaller than Elastic Games. So it is a matter of trying to put all hands on deck and trying to get there as quickly as we can, but also as smartly as we can to make sure everything is smooth for everyone. Then we can see what we have there. It's a, like I said, it's a large mess of wires. We're just trying to get through piece by piece.
For sure, and we definitely appreciate it. I just wanted to kind of touch on those because everybody's wanting to know, screaming and shouting. So, with that in mind, though, I would like to say thank you all here for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. A lot of great information. As some of y'all already heard from the podcast, if you weren't here earlier, coaching system, public playtest, a number of other things coming out, folks. So just stay tuned for all of that. And don't worry, the VOD will be here and also uploaded to YouTube and a number of other places. Once again, I would just like to thank every single one of you for everything you guys have done for the game, being here for the podcast, and just everything else that, will happen in the future here. So with that in mind, I'd just like to say, have a good day, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we'll probably do this again in the future, hopefully. And hope to see you all soon.